Hey guys, it's editor me speaking, and there's a bunch of timestamps in the description below if you would like to see some parts like the CPU and GPU and not anything else, or you just want to get a quick overview. So yeah, timestamps in the description so you can skip around.
Hey guys, it's Real Potato Tea here, and what I have here is a very peculiar build. Now, I know a lot of people who really want their first PC. They're pretty enticed by the looks and the specs of it. And so I thought I would make a few PC builds. I have made a video already, but this one is pretty special. This is a 900 Australian dollar build that has 8 cores. Interesting, ain't it? Now I'm going to quickly check up how much 800 AUD is. Moment of truth. Can I put this on my YouTube video? Yes, I can. So that's basically 600 United States dollar at the end. Okay. That means 600 US dollars for an 8-core system. Now, as you can see on the top, we also have a bunch of other items that we'll look through together. Now, let's start with the first most important, like 8 cores. What? 8 cores, you might ask? How? How is this possible? Now, we can achieve this by, well, there's two ways. But first, let's look at a little look at Intel Xeon processors. A lot of Intel Xeon processors from 5 to 10 years ago are actually really good, but are now sort of outdated. But some of these, there's a 4-core one, 6, 8, and I'm planning to do a 16-core video too. They're pretty good. And you can still use them in builds nowadays and still get pretty nice performance. Now this is a 2.9 gigahertz thing. Now I'm not sure how that'll transform into performance, but I've heard that maybe I would say it's an i7 7th gen or 8th gen. But of course you could always go with another option, and that is getting a 4-core, something like this, and getting a 2 CPU motherboard. Now, there's always an option, and I'll put a link to those kinds of ways anyways, but I feel this is a bit more simple, so I'm going to go with this one, and it's cheaper as far as I know. This comes at 90 Australian dollars, and yeah, you can always find a US version. Now let's go to the motherboard. This motherboard has the same socket as this. It doesn't say here, but it's LJ 2011, and this is NVMe SSD supported, and that's what we're gonna use as our storage. In other words, it has pretty basic ports, basically what you would expect from a server motherboard. But before we get on the storage, we got the RAM. Now, DDR3 is not, well, the fastest thing in the world, and that's why I thought, why not I get 32 gigabytes to make up for that. Now, of course, you can always get, this is a, whatever this is. Oh, wait. Is that fast? Yeah, that's, I don't know what that is. But I think it's slower than 1600 megahertz. So you can always go for a 16 gig kit, but I think 32 gigabytes makes up for it. Now let's get on to the storage. This storage is the bare minimum. Now all of these 32 gigabytes, 8 cores, wow. But we have to in some way, we gotta minimize our spending. And that's why we have a 128 gigabyte SSD. Great, but good, it's NVMe M.2, so that's pretty good. You can always increase it a bit. I think this is 1 terabyte. You can go for something like this. How is this? Yeah, it's just like 10 US AUD more. Always go for that, but didn't fit in my actual budget. So yeah. Now we talked about a CPU earlier, but this thing is a server thing, and I actually heard it has 135 watts. What? Basically, I asked what wattage, and then it showed me 135 wattage. I know I'm not using the correct terms. And of course, we have to cool it. So that's why I got whatever this is. It's cheap, RGB, and can fit. So I think that's pretty good. And as you can see, 40 AUD. So something around 25 US dollars. Now the power supply is something that we have to go big on. Sort of. It has to be 550 watts minimum. But I thought, why not as well just go 600 watt. Now, you can always go for this as well, which is a lot better. It's 80 plus gold. This is just 80 plus. This is the one I'm talking about. Oh. But, yeah, I don't want to take any risk with the power supply. I want to make sure I can get as much wattage, because a lot of these parts are quite big in wattage. But you can always go for this. This is going to last you longer, but if you just want as much bang for the buck in 1 to 2 years, you can go for this. But I do recommend this one as well. Link to that as well. Now for the graphics card, what you would use for gaming. I've chosen 1650 Super. Now you can always go for an RX 580, but currently in Australia and in Amazon, it's not looking good. And plus, it's actually a bit better, so I'd go for it. It's 4 gigabytes of GDDR6 compared to the 5 of RX 580, and I recommend it. I'm looking at this one here. Yeah, it only has a single fan, but you can always go a little bit higher and go for like a dual fan, MSI, Ventus, whatever. I absolutely love the design, but it's also out of stock, so yeah. Now finally, the case. Now this case is, I heard it's pretty good, so I'm gonna say you should go with it. There's a bunch of stuff there's a bunch of other cases you could go for, but I'm really looking at this. It looks pretty nice, and also has 2 included fans, which should be able to cool what you have. It also has pretty good reviews, and that's about it. So, should you go for a sort of cheap-ish 8-core beast of a budget PC? It depends on what you want to do with it in the future. Now, of course, with this, you can get a lot of bang for the buck. I mean, this is more of a video editing thing. Always go for more gigahertz and just use 4 core, and just add a little bit more on that motherboard. This thing's 32 gigs, so you could always go for faster. 16 gigs storage is something you could upgrade to like 256, and the rest is basically the same. You could, but if you do tend to go in this direction, either you go for 4 core, 6 core, 8 core, 12, 16 core, I'm pretty sure that's possible. And remember this, whatever you get right there and then will be all you have for a very long time. The only thing you can upgrade is, I mean, if you get a lower end of this, then you can upgrade to this, but that wouldn't make any sense. The RAM you could upgrade, it'll get cheaper over time. I mean, it's not the most upgradable thing ever. You can always upgrade the graphics card, that's definitely an option. But I chose a lower end graphics card because I didn't want it to bottleneck. Because I'm pretty unsure about its performance. Well, but that's about it for this video. I hope you enjoyed, and have a good one.